Sometimes a single line of ancient poetry can pop up in the most unexpected places. We're talking social media, theological blogs, and even in super serious academic journals. So today, let's trace the incredible journey of one really powerful idea. Our whole story really kicks off with this one verse from the biblical book of Psalms. And what an image it is, right? A feast, a beautiful table, served not in some safe, cozy spot, but right in front of your adversaries. But what on earth does that mean for us today in our world of online arguments and huge global challenges? All right, let's start at the most personal level. We're going to see how this ancient verse is bringing real comfort to people in their everyday lives. And our journey begins in a place you might not expect, a social media app.
So over on the lifestyle app Lemonade, someone posted about Psalm 23:5, and it just sparked this huge wave of really heartfelt comments. People from all over started chiming in, sharing what this one image meant to them. It turned into this amazing digital chorus of personal reflection.
This comment from a user named Faithful Writer just perfectly captures the main theme here: comfort. See, for them, the verse isn't about gloating or winning, it's about feeling a divine presence right in the middle of a struggle. It's about knowing you're not alone.
And then another user, Hopeful Believer. They echo that feeling, but focus on something a little different: peace. For them, this verse is like a meditation, a tool to find calm and reassurance when life gets tough, kind of turning that anxiety into a sense of tranquility.
And finally, Spiritual Seeker kind of brings it all home. They see the verse as a promise of transformation. So it's not just about getting through hard times, but about watching those very hardships get turned into blessings. And this idea of transformation, well, that's the perfect bridge to our next section.
So, we've seen the personal comfort this verse can bring. Now, let's zoom out a little and look at the bigger picture. This idea of a table set in front of your enemies, it actually points to a really fascinating and kind of counterintuitive principle about how provision can work. This short story from the Blessing Today blog is just a brilliant illustration. So you have a woman in need, and she prays for food. Her neighbor, who's a total skeptic, hears this and decides he's going to prove her faith is silly. So he goes out, buys all the groceries himself, and leaves them on her porch. But when he reveals his trick, her response is just priceless. And here's the key takeaway. What the neighbor intended as an act against her faith, it became the very delivery system for the blessing she was praying for. The opposition itself was transformed into provision. That, right there, is the principle at the heart of this table for my enemies. Now, this is not a new idea by any stretch. It's a theme that you see pop up again and again in the source texts. Let's just look at a few classic examples of this principle in action. Take the story of Joseph. His brothers, his enemies in that moment, they sell him into slavery. Their intent was clearly to harm him, to get rid of him. But that very act of hostility is what kicks off the chain of events that puts him in a position of incredible power in Egypt, where he eventually saves the exact same family that betrayed him. Wild, right?
And you see this pattern everywhere. The Israelites' oppressors, the Egyptians, they end up basically funding their escape. You have Elijah being fed by ravens, scavenger birds, the most unlikely source of food imaginable. Then there's the Apostle Paul getting bitten by a venomous snake, and what should be a death sentence actually becomes the setup for a miracle. In every single one of these stories, the threat becomes the vehicle for the blessing. Okay, so we've gone from a social media comment all the way to a deep theological principle. Now, let's take an even bigger leap. Is it possible that this ancient idea of provision coming from a hostile environment could have any relevance for solving our complex, modern, global problems?
All right, prepare for our biggest zoom out yet. We are leaving the world of personal comfort and spiritual stories, and we're jumping right into the world of peer-reviewed academia and a proposal for sustainable development for an entire continent.
Yep, you heard that right. This same theme is being talked about right now in places like the Journal of African Innovation and Advanced Studies. This isn't a devotional blog, it's a serious academic publication looking for real solutions for the future. A research paper in this very journal argues that the story of manna, that mysterious food that sustained the Israelites in a barren, hostile desert, can actually be used as an ethical model. It's a framework for thinking about provision, sustainability, and security in really challenging environments today. So let's just take a breath and retrace our steps here. We have followed the thread of a single idea on an absolutely incredible journey, scaling up from something deeply personal to something globally ambitious.
We started with an individual finding comfort and peace on lemon 8. Then, we saw how that comfort is actually based on this larger spiritual principle where hostility itself can become a source of help. And finally, we saw that exact same principle, provision in the midst of hardship, being applied as a high-level ethical framework for sustainable development, from a comment to a principle to a continent.
This whole journey, from a social media post all the way to an academic journal, was kicked off by one single line of ancient poetry. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other profound wisdom is just hiding in plain sight, waiting for us to apply it to the world today?